In real estate school, you probably learned that there are many different types of listing agreements, but at Tier 1 real estate, we only use one type of agreement, which is the exclusive right to sell. The important thing to know about the exclusive right to sell agreement is that it indicates that regardless of who finds the buyer for the property, whether it's the seller, us, or a co-broke from a different company, we're still going to get paid our commission. In the agreement itself, there are certain terms and conditions that you need to have included in order for it to be a valid contract. Number one, you have to indicate what the listing price is, and that has to be decided by the seller. You can advise the seller as to your opinion, but the seller ultimately needs to pick the price. You need to specify the length of the contract, so how long is the listing agreement in effect for? We're generally doing listing agreements for anywhere from 3 to 6 months. I like to do mine for 4 months, which is right in the middle there. You also have to indicate what you're offering as a co-broke commission. That means what you're offering in the multiple listing service to the company that brings you the buyer. Keep in mind, you do not need to offer half of the commission as the co-broke. So for example, if I take a listing for 5.5%, I still only offer 2.5% to the buyer's agent, and I keep 3% myself. So there's no rule that you have to offer half. You just have to make sure you disclose in the listing agreement to the seller how much you plan to offer. Another thing to be aware of with listing agreements is something called a dual variable commission. In the MLS, they're going to ask you if the contract is a dual variable commission agreement, which means that the listing brokerage would get a different fee if they represent both the buyer and the seller than if the deal is a co-broke deal. So, for example, it might be a 6% commission, but if Tier 1 gets both sides, then we reduce the commission to 5%. That would be a dual variable commission. And if you want the listing agreement to be structured that way, you have to add that language to the other conditions of the listing agreement. Listing needs to go active in the multiple listing service within 48 hours of being signed. But in the real world, a lot of sellers are not ready to list the property right away. We don't have photos set, things like that. So one way around that is to write in the other conditions a go active date. And I generally put the go active date a week or two out. And that's the date when the property is actually going to go live in the multiple listing service. The important thing to know is that if you do have a go active date in the listing agreement, you cannot market the property, not even on social media, until you get to that date. Lastly, the contract needs signatures in order to be a valid contract, and it needs signatures from all parties, you as the realtor and all the sellers that are listed on the town card. So you can't just get one spouse's signature if they're both on the deed and on the town card. You're going to need both parties to sign in order to have a valid listing agreement. If you found value in this video, please like, hit the subscribe button, and comment with future content you'd like to see.